Um, I'm no longer I told y'all before, man, in my last video, man, I quit. I'm focused on the things that I think are important, you know what I'm saying? And that's building our people up. My good brother DS1, he said all the time, we gotta heal before we build. And so I'm hoping that the message of this video, you know, uh, be some wisdom to you so that you can grow. You know what I'm saying? So you can teach your sons, your daughters, maybe a lesson or two that we didn't get when we was young. Just so that that could propel them to be a little bit better than us. And so that's pretty much the space that I'm coming from with um with what I gotta say tonight. And so my dad is the best man I know, you know what I'm saying? One more time, shout out to that man for being my father. I feel extremely lucky to have him as a father, and he definitely made sure that any lesson that he could teach me, he tried to make everything a teachable moment, you know what I'm saying? And so as a young man, we used to go to Mississippi every year. Used to go to Mississippi for the summer every year. I don't know about y'all, but that's what our family used to do. He wanted me to understand what my roots were. He wanted me to understand what our culture was. You know what I'm saying? And so that being said, you know what I'm saying? I was the kid that used to ask all of the questions. So why? So why? So why? You know what I'm saying? Right? And like I told y'all, he the best man I know. And this man is so wise, you know, that he changed my question into a teachable moment about life. And so my question to him was, hey dad, why these trees right here over the top of the expressway, why all of them growing crooked? And he paused, paused for about a good 2 minutes. It was silence, and I just kept sitting there. I ain't want to say nothing else, so I just kept sitting there. And then, everybody else sleep in the car. And so for about 30 minutes, he just sat there and lectured me about trees and how I should look at them now, you know. And he told me all the time, and he called it country boy logic. My dad from Chula, Mississippi, if y'all familiar, what I'm saying, it's the Greenwood area, right? So for about 30 minutes, he lectured me on trees, right? And I remember this lesson specifically. What he said was, it's best to straighten out a crooked tree when they're young, when they first get bark and get a little hard, you know, able to accept some straightening. It is always best, always, to straighten out a crooked tree when they're young. And he used to he used to ask me questions as he was explaining to make sure that I understood. He said, "Well, why you think you would want to straighten out a tree, June? Why you think you need to straighten them out when he's young?" I was like, "So he can grow straight." Of course, I'm young. I don't understand the wisdom that's about to get handed to me, right? And so he say, "Well, see, if you let a tree grow crooked for 10, 12 years, 15 years, and then all of a sudden you try to straighten it out, you gonna kill the tree. You gonna crack it. It's gonna crack." And then I pictured that in my mind. I'm like, oh, I see now. He ain't talking about trees, but he is talking about trees. See? And so here it is, right? He say the process to straighten out a tree, you got to start young. You got to start young. And what you want to do is you want to support it. You want to support it in such a way to where no matter what, you come back and you reevaluate it. You look and see if he growing straight. Is the string where the crook at, and you trying to make sure that he gonna grow straight. But you got to do it when he young. You see, and sometimes if you don't do it when he young, right, and he get that 10, 12 years old, you got to use some force to get the tree straight. You say, don't judge the tree though. Don't judge the tree. The tree didn't want to grow crooked. It's the person who planted the tree that wasn't paying attention. But you got to use some force to get the tree to grow straight. And let me pause right here and say this right here out loud. This message is not for everybody. You see, I'm not a Christian or anything like that, and I mean no disrespect if I'm misinterpreting this this scripture, but I believe that it called wisdom the dark saying. So this message is not for everybody. I understand, right? So moving along, if you want to straighten up a tree, here goes some things that you got to have. You got to have some patience. You still got to water it. Still got to make sure that the sun's shining in a good spot on it to get good sun. You want to make sure that you clip the limbs that ain't growing. You know, why waste the nutrients going into a limb that's not going to produce any leaves, any fruit? Wouldn't be wise. So that's what you do. When a tree young, that's when you prune it. That's when you do it. When they're young. You see? Because either way it go, this tree got life. Oh yes. The tree got life. And you just gotta find a way to make sure that you can preserve that life to the best of its ability and have the tree be natural and grow straight. Be of some use, maybe shade to the house, so you can save on your lights in the summer. But here's the other thing that I want people to consider. And this is what he told me. He said, June, because that's my nickname, June. He said, June, sometimes the trees grow crooked on purpose. I said, yeah, they grow crooked on purpose, Dad? He said, yeah. I said, well, why? The tree reaching to get some more sun. And so, you know, that's what he gonna do. He gonna go to the area where the sun is. And so sometimes in your mind's eye, you might say, why is the tree growing crooked? Well, the tree ain't worried about your opinion. He going to get the resources. He gonna go get the sun. And he'll explain it to you if you ask him. But most people just, stand back and look at the tree and say he crooked. The tree know exactly what it's doing. It's trying to live. It's trying to make sure that it survive. So when it drop its saplings and its seeds, the next tree can come along. And if it gotta be crooked, well, goddamn it, it gonna be crooked too. To make sure that it get to that sun. Hmm. I love trees. Love them. Always been fascinated by them when I was young. Obviously, this tree is crooked. Some people, because they have I know y'all. Some people even probably looked at the title and thought I was gonna be talking about weed. Crooked trees. You know what I'm saying? But I'm talking about actually trees, right? But anyway, look, right? You see this tree? Fascinating. Struck by lightning, as y'all can see. You know, and the heat literally made the tree lean over. But the roots of the tree was so strong that it was still able to survive after the lightning strike. Fascinating. Some people see something else. They don't even see a tree. But I ain't gonna get into that freaky stuff with y'all, right? Like I said, some people look at trees and say, man, why is the tree growing so crooked? This tree knew its design before it got to the height that it was. And so in our mind, we looking at it and we saying it's crooked. That's on purpose. It was a design. And sometimes we just need to understand that every tree ain't gonna fit into your, quintessential idea of how a tree should look, you know. But I gotta say this out loud. Y'all take a look at this tree. It's nothing exceptional about this tree. It's just crooked. Still surviving, still, it got limbs. It's alive. Some trees just grow crooked naturally. It is their nature. Some trees just ain't gonna grow straight. That's just what it is. And those type of trees, they usually are alone in nature. Most crooked trees don't grow well with other trees. And so some of them crooked trees, we just got to leave them crooked in the forest and leave them be. That's just what it is. All right. But you know, my favorite tree, and this is the tree that I used to look forward to seeing when I went to Mississippi, the weeping willow. The reason they call it a weeping willow is because if you under the tree or around the tree, if the wind pick up, right, you're gonna feel these little drops of water. So the tree is like it's almost like it's sweating in the summertime. Oh man, I love to be under weeping willows, you know. Love to be under those. But this is the tree that kind of lit my, fascination with trees. Man, I love trees. You can learn a lot observing nature. You can learn a lot observing nature. This is one of my favorite trees. This is an oak tree. Very strong root system. Matter of fact, oaks, anywhere on planet Earth, this tree seems to thrive. High altitudes, below sea level, hot climates, somewhat hot climates, you know. I love oak trees. I love to look at their strength, you know. Oh yeah. This is a whole row of oak trees. You see how they limbs are reaching. Almost it seemed like they creating the archway for this drive. Very scenic, I could imagine. I've never drove through there personally. But you see how it's so many oak trees and they all seem to be strong. They coexisting, y'all. They limbs, they touching each other, but in a healthy way. Perfect shade. It looks like that's probably like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Perfect shade. And I can imagine the majestic view that you would see in your car. Probably overlook the coexistence of these trees. Man, you can learn a lot from nature. You know, my dad, he also expounded on the tree line. You know, he expounded on the tree line, right? Them a bunch of oaks. Let me go to my tree line pictures. As y'all can see, I kind of prepared for it. I had some ideas of how I wanted to talk about it, but I definitely wanted some visuals for this. You know, tree lines. As you can see, most of these trees are all the same, right? But the ones that are a little taller, they probably just a little older. You can look at the stump of the tree and you can see that because they're a little wider. My point in bringing it up, all these trees together, they not trying to outgrow one another. They height gonna be they height. That's what it's gonna be. You see? Everybody about the same height. But if you notice, they limbs, these trees limbs, they not growing out. So they almost you if you could imagine, they standing there with their arms to their side. Some of the trees are. It's different types of trees together. But they all seem to be thriving. I don't see any dead trees in there. They all seem to be. It's a message in there, right? The root system of a tree. You see a tree, you see above ground, but it's a lot going on underneath. That's why the tree can thrive, look full, and provide shade and provide wood and shelter, especially if it's raining. Oh man, you find a tree like this, you in the middle of the field somewhere, it start raining. You ever, man, y'all ain't never been to Mississippi. Look, right? You can see the storm coming. You can see it coming. And when it poured down, you can see the end. You can see the end of the storm. So what you would be doing is trying to, aim towards one of these big old trees. But this is the root system of the tree. It's a lot to this tree. All we thinking about probably is how good a Granny Smith apple is. Man, I ain't gonna lie, I love Granny Smith apples, man. That's why I brung it up. Woo! I love the sweetness and also the bitterness of the apple, the balance of a Granny Smith apple. Yes, sir. But it's a lot to trees that's underneath. You see how wide that root system is? Let me tell you something, right? This is on record. They found a root system of a South African oak tree. It went 400 feet deep. Some trees go super deep, you know. Some trees would go deep, right? They would go deep, but sometimes the soil ain't right, you know. Sometimes underneath the tree roots would go deep, but the soil sandy, full of clay. See, if you ever done dug deep and you hit some clay, some of y'all don't know how to work with y'all hand, ain't never moved no earth or smelt no earth, you ain't never, hell, some of y'all don't even know how to cut grass. Talking about what a man should be. But anyway, getting back to the point. Some of the roots, they would go deep, but where they planted it, the soil bad. So the tree don't shrivel up and die because the soil bad. He just put his roots on the ground. Wherever he at, he just put him on the ground. Hey, look, this tree ain't protesting, you know. It ain't trying to send nobody to jail. This tree ain't doing that. This is what this tree did. Okay, okay. The soil is on some bullshit. This soil ain't no good. I'ma just put my roots right here on top of the ground. Whatever I gotta do to survive, that's what I'm gonna do. You see? But then people come along, they want to judge the tree, not understanding everything that the tree had to go through. Look at this crooked ass tree. You don't know that a kid tried to kill the tree when it was young, bending the tree all sideways and goings on. A young boy came back, carved him and his girlfriend name in the tree. You don't know what happened to the tree. Why it's so crooked. But don't forget now, don't forget, don't forget what I said. Now, once the tree get a little grown, you gonna need some force to straighten out that tree. And if you use too much force, you don't have enough patience with the tree, right? You're gonna kill it. Is it worth it? Is it worth killing the tree? Well, I just plant another tree. What about this life you got in front of you? Keep in mind now, you might chop the tree down, but that root system I talked about, right? You would be dead and gone, that tree will come back. You heard? You will be dead and gone. You think you done killed the tree. You would be dead and gone and that tree will come back. Let me get back to the root system of tree. Y'all remember that picture I showed you where the root system was wide, right? These trees, their root system, they're sharing their nutrients. They're sharing their water. I bet you the air, I bet you that air is pure. If you was just to take a long walk down that road right there, woo, I bet you that air is pure. Because trees give us life if y'all don't know that. Yes. We keep cutting down enough trees. Guess what? We gonna be choking. Huh? There's an oak tree right here. I love oak trees. Now they call this is in St. James, Louisiana, and they planted these oak trees. You know, obviously, I'm hoping that y'all can tell that's a plantation. I went on the plantation tour at the St. James Parish. These are some beautiful oak trees, y'all. They were not trimmed or anything like that. They grew that way naturally. Naturally. You can see the root systems of these trees bubbling out the ground. I bet you these trees, if they could talk, they would have some stories to tell y'all. It's believed that these trees were planted around 1618. The root system, y'all. That's another thing about the root system of trees, right? Another thing I wanted to say about them. They not asking permission. They not asking permission to be strong. I need 4 or 5. It's gonna be 4 or 5 roots. That's just what it is. It's not apologizing for being strong. Wouldn't you want to come from, if you was a tree with a strong root system? Roots are deep and powerful to where no matter what, wind blowing, raining, cold, whatever, those roots will be able to reach out and get the appropriate nutrients to keep the tree alive. Talked about this is a eucalyptus tree right here. This a real picture now. This a real picture. Look at that. It's a eucalyptus tree, y'all. I love trees. This a fig tree. Everybody don't got the same roots, y'all. Everybody don't got the same roots. My point in bringing it out is this. Be proud of the roots you got, because you a tree now. Whatever type of tree you are, you a spruce, you a pine, you a oak, you a fig, you a eucalyptus tree, whatever type of, you a redwood, whatever type of tree you are, that was the type of tree you was going to be before you broke through the soil. So be proud of whatever type of tree you is. Hmm. White trees. You don't see these much in nature. It's naturally white. You just don't see a whole. I just can't think of how many. Now I'm very familiar with trees. I just can't think of how many white ones. I I want to say it's 12 different species. I'm not sure, but you don't see a whole lot of white trees in nature. Hmm. Their leaves not very broad. It look like the tree strong. Look strong. Got good strong limbs. The limbs then grew tall. They long. Oh yes. Oh yes. Them some long. You can tell that this tree is tall. And based on the trunk, a significant root system. A significant root system. Right? But I seriously doubt if that root system is as strong as that oak tree. Let me show you. You know, just comparing and contrasting trees. Now you see that trunk, it's a grown man standing next to the trunk right there. You know, and for prosperity, this is just a disclaimer, right? These are not my photographs. I pulled them off of Google. These are not my photographs. Fair use, fair use. I'm just giving my commentary on these photographs, right? But white trees, back to white trees. Hey, y'all know any white trees? Can you tell me? Man, I know they exist. I just can't think of exactly how many species are white. I want to say it's 12. But trees, man, beautiful. You know, what stood out to me about this picture, trees and their appropriateness for the season, y'all. Their appropriateness for the season. See, if you got all them leaves and things, you gonna need more nutrients. You gonna need more sunlight. That's what you gonna need, right? You gonna need that. Trees and their appropriateness for the season. So in the winter, because it's less sunlight, trees drop their leaves. But right before the winter, right before they drop their leaves, they put on a show. They put on a show. The beauty of nature, the natural beauty of nature. The spruce is not hollering at the redwoods talking about fix me up. They just gonna be what they are. Natural beauty. As y'all can see, man, I love trees. These are flowering trees right here. Beautiful. That's beautiful. Purple is supposed to be the color of royalty. hmm Some trees are just unique. Some trees are just unique, and we are going to have to accept the fact that although they are unique, it's nothing that we can do to change that. It's nothing we can do to change it. They just unique. It's called a basket tree. Imagine what their root system look like. We see what it is up top. Imagine what's going on underneath. The natural beauty of trees. Look at that. Now, and the one that's furthest to the right, that tree never gets really tall. It's a flowering tree, and it put on its show in the spring and early summer, and then it drop all its flowers, and then it's just green, and then obviously when the autumn come, it turns orange and yellow, and that's it. Then it drop its leaves and come back in the spring. You know. So let me stop sharing my screen. Look, right. I appreciate anybody that was listening. I felt like I just wanted to share this. I hope that this message reached the person that it was supposed to. Right. I hope that the family understand what I was trying to say. Although the message was about trees, it wasn't just about trees. like I said, they call wisdom the dark saying. So I appreciate anybody that tuned in tonight. You know, I this is what my some wisdom that my father shared with me when I was young, and so I just wanted to come out and share it with the fam. So one more time, I appreciate anybody that was listening tonight, and I'm about to sign off now. So, man, I'm gonna holler at y'all a little later on another little check in, just to let y'all know what's going on with me and why I'm still buzzing. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm gonna holler at y'all, man. Look out for me on another live. All right, later, y'all.